you draw up a trust, and then years later you buy some expensive jewelry, or you buy a second home, or you buy an RV. You've got to update the trust to put all this stuff in there.
You do. You have to keep it up to date. I mean, you really have to make sure that it's up to date. You change, you get more assets. The laws change.
What's the biggest mistake people make when they write up a will?
The biggest mistake they make is not thinking about who they want to have in charge. Just naming automatically the oldest kid. The funniest one I ever saw was one that came to me, and they named the son. She'd been told that name your oldest child. Her son had been in and out of jail for years. He was, had troubles with drugs. He was in jail when she died, and he was tried to act. He had a jailhouse lawyer, and he actually filed the probate from jail because it was the oldest kid. So it's a big mistake. The other thing is having a will when you need a living trust. They don't know the difference between a will and a trust. So a will, only death; a trust, life and death.
What about people who lose their will or misplace the will? I have a story in my family about a rich uncle whose will got lost after he died, and the money ended up going to his sister, who he hated, instead of the people he loved.
Oh yeah, the magically disappearing will is a really known story. That story I have heard hundreds of thousands of times. And guess what? When you make a will, nobody has a copy. Now I keep copies of the documents I prepare. In the old days, lawyers used to keep all their originals. They had big storage rooms. I'm not sure that younger lawyers are doing that anymore because office space has gotten so expensive. But even so, who would know which lawyer had the will? There's no database. There's no way to know. People should have copies of your will.
And where should the copies be?
Well, I usually make sure that when I do an estate planning document, I usually ask my clients for permission. They have to give permission. I usually make sure that their family needs it. If we're disinheriting somebody specific, then I make sure that the person that we don't want to get it doesn't have access to it, that maybe the will is kept with the person we want to get the property. So if we have a sister and she's our only heir, but we want it to go to our nieces and nephews, so by law she would be there, maybe we give it to the responsible nephew. He has all our original documents. We pass away, he has them. Not, so they can't magically disappear. We have to think, where would we put them? There's no one answer, but we have to think, where should I have that document so it doesn't just, somebody doesn't come to my house and go, there's my will. It's going to disappear and not be there because I get the estate if it disappears.
There's some hanky-panky going on with wills, is what you're telling me.
There's lots of hanky-panky, yep.